Hi, I'm Andrew from Fire Safety Stick, and between myself and my colleague Sergio, we'd like to explain a little bit more about this unique type of fire extinguisher and why it's such a game changer to fire safety. We'll touch on some of the history, how it works, why it's so different to traditional extinguishers, and some of its advantages as well. First, I should actually point out we come from a fire safety background ourselves, having worked for one of the UK's leading fire companies. But do remember, the Fire Safety Stick, like all handheld extinguishers, it's all about dealing with the fire at its very early stages. It's about aiding your escape and protecting you and your family. The fire brigade's advice is only to deal with fires no larger than a waste paper basket. Anything larger and you need to escape. And that actually brings me on to one of the advantages of the Fire Safety Stick. You see, you'll find out later on the fact that you can activate it, leave it in a confined space, you escape to safety, it will still carry on repressing the fire long after you've escaped and closed the door behind you. And that could be buying valuable time for when the fire brigade arrives. Anyway, a bit more about that further on.
A bit of an introduction to myself. I have 20 years within the fire safety industry. So we would design tower blocks, suppression systems, smoke control, all life safety systems. We would even have a department where we service traditional extinguishers for commercial industry. So my knowledge on extinguishers is quite big. The product here has unique advantages, and my vision was to get this product in people's homes where it could save someone's life. So just imagine a flat owner. You wouldn't be able to sell them or give them a traditional extinguisher because you would have to service it, you would have to train them how to use it, which you're all going to find out later on. And that's why I brought it here to the UK, and that was our vision.
The great advantage of the Fire Safety Stick is its versatility and its ease of use. You no longer have that gambling of which extinguisher to use, or even how to use the correct extinguisher on the correct type of fire. For example, this is the 52nd model. It weighs just 215 grams. Size is just 27 centimetres by 3 centimetres. It has a much longer discharge time than traditional extinguishers. So for example, this is 50 seconds. This model is over 100 seconds discharge time. It's completely clean. It leaves no mess and no residue. In fact, we've had people have a car engine fire, put the fire out quickly with the Fire Safety Stick, and once they've checked to make sure it's safe, been able to carry on with their journey. Now, had that been a dry powder extinguisher, that would cause untold damage and they would not have been able to drive that car again. It's completely safe for you and your family and pets. It has no detrimental effects on the environment or the ozone layer. Even after it's used, recycling is much easier than with a traditional extinguisher. It works on more classifiers than most other traditional extinguishers. So for example, Class A, now these are solid combustibles, things like wood, paper, textiles, fiberglass, plastics, etc. B, flammable liquids, so these are examples such as petrol, oil, diesel and alcohols. Flammable gases, such as methane, butane, propane. It's certified for electrical goods up to 100,000 volts, so not only is it ideal for the white goods at home, but also for any heavy workshop machinery. And here's a real game changer, classification F, which is cooking oils and fats. So this is perfect to have in the kitchen. Now, included within those classifications are things like chimney fires. This is one of the very few extinguishers that can deal with a chimney fire, whether it be in a log burner or an open fireplace.
Now, this leads us on to another great advantage of the Fire Safety Stick, and its long discharge time. Like all extinguishers, you should not be tackling any fire that's bigger than a waste paper bin. Okay, so if the fire's too big, it's well established, you shouldn't be tackling it. With the Fire Safety Stick, if it's in an enclosed space, you could activate it, leave it behind you, shut the door as you get out to safety. This is buying you extra seconds to get out and extra seconds for the fire brigade to come in and put the fire out. So that is a great advantage with the Fire Safety Stick. So the Fire Safety Stick is very durable. So in one extreme test, I have dropped it, I've cut it, I've even drilled a hole into it. Now this is very extreme, but the same product I've used to put the fire out in a tumble dryer. So we've just done that as an example of how durable the product is. So it's fine for toolboxes, and if you happen to drop it, you don't have to worry about it. It's not going to go off, and it's still going to work at the end. So the shelf life of a Fire Safety Stick is 15 years here in the UK and Ireland. Although this product doesn't need to be professionally serviced by an external engineer, there is some maintenance tips that we would like people to know about. For example, the striker. When you learn how to use it, this is a vital piece of the fire safety stick. So we want to make sure that that's always attached. In some of the commercial products, that is actually attached, which you'll find out later on. But if it's just a domestic product, we want to make sure that people know that why it's there and what it's used for. The other part is the black tip on here. So with your finger, just touch it. If that's hard, that's how you're going to know it's good in year 16, 17, 18 and so on. So this product will go over the 15 years it states, as long as that resin is hard and you've got that cap. Apart from that, the rest of it is very simple. Aluminium tube, plastic handle. The resin, which you'll find out later on, which is this, has no expiry date, and that's inside there. So, maintenance tips, quick cover again, make sure the striker's on, the lid, black tip, with your finger, press it. If it's hard, it's good.
So there are essentially two models of the fire safety stick available. The 50-second model we've already seen, but also its larger brother, the 100-second model. Now this weighs 365 grams, is approximately 32 centimetres in length, and again is around about just over 3 centimetres in diameter. Every fire safety stick comes with a free mounting clip, and in the vast majority of cases that's absolutely all you need for mounting the fire safety stick. Now we've also done a utility version. This is ideal for things like commercial vehicles or in agriculture equipment like tractors, for instance. This has a tamper tag on there so you don't lose a striker, but also it has an extra mounting clip as well. So we often get asked, which model should you choose? Well, of course, that's always going to depend on the location and the fire risk associated with that particular location. I suggest in the majority of cases, particularly in a domestic situation, the 50-second model is absolutely perfect and all you need. Of course, some people do prefer the added protection of the 100-second discharge time, maybe for boats at sea, for example. Or farm equipment, maybe. This has already saved a number of combine harvesters by activating it, leave it inside a combine harvester which has been on fire. It's repressed the fire long enough so that by the time the fire brigade arrived, it's been a much easier job just to douse it in water and save the combine and the field. Oh, and it's also used in Formula 1. This is actually used by a number of the leading Formula 1 teams, all the Grand Prix around the world, as an additional fire safety protection for them.
Really simple. We have 4 simple instructions. We also have a QR code to watch a video of how to use it. So, step 1, take the lid off. The lid is protecting the black tip on top. Okay, step 2, take the striker off. Now, imagine this the side of a matchbox. Imagine the black tip, the top of a matchstick. Okay, step 3 is you're putting the two together away from your face and you're striking it. Once you strike that, you'll see the vapor start coming out. There's no pressure. You've got nothing to be scared of, and it's going to take lots and lots of time. You've got 50 seconds here or 100 seconds. Take your time and be calm. Point it at the base of the fire. Let the vapors do the work. You'll start seeing, as the vapors start attacking the flame, you'll see the flame starting being pushed back. And then what you do is you just walk the fire out. If it's in a confined space, you can then just put it out. Again, don't forget, bit of safety advice, do not tackle any fire bigger than a waste paper bin.
So the fire safety stick works in a totally different way than any traditional extinguishers. It doesn't contain powder or CO2 or foam or anything. It works by removing the oxygen away from the flame, but it does not take your oxygen away at all. You see inside it is this. This is a solid, stable resin containing mostly potassium nitrate. Now what happens is when you activate the fire safety stick, this is broken down. This then becomes nitrogen gas. Now that doesn't affect the fire. All that essentially does is it creates the pressure inside, to create the aerosol as it were, to drive out the active agent. The active agent is a thing called a potassium-free radical. Basically, these are potassium ions that have to bind onto the oxygen around the flame. By doing so, it kills the flame and therefore puts the fire out. That then becomes a potassium oxide. Very, very fine particles, totally inert, so it does no harm to you, the environment, or your animals at all, and then just dissipates into the atmosphere. Now, I stress that it does not take the oxygen away from yourself, because basically it needed the flame as a catalyst, so it doesn't affect your oxygen for yourself. So let's compare the fire safety against a more traditional extinguisher. So this is a quick reminder, this is a 50-second model, so it weighs just 215 grams. It lasts for 15 years at least. It leaves no mess and no residue. It needs no servicing during that time. It's safe for you and your family to use. Now compare that to something like this. This is a 1 kg dry powder extinguisher. Actually weighs 2¼ kilos. It's a very capable extinguisher if used in the right situation and with the right technique. However, just a few things to bear in mind. The discharge time on this is just 7 seconds. Okay, it lasts for just 5 years. Now, strictly speaking, it really should be serviced every year. Some of these smaller models, they say they don't need to be serviced. However, if it's in a vehicle, because of the vibration moving up and down and also temperature fluctuation, that 6 or 7 seconds can go down to just 2 or 3 seconds. You see inside, the powder clumps together and can block the mechanism inside. It leaves a mess everywhere, which can be very damaging, especially in the vehicles. Okay, it's also actually detrimental to your health as well. So if you discharge this, which you shouldn't be doing in a confined space, but if you have to, then in which case you've got the risk of inhaling it or ingesting it at all, and you have health issues with that. And that's one of the reasons why actually you shouldn't be using this in a confined space at all. Also because the pressure of it actually can create a fireball with it as well. Now I know the initial purchase of the fire safety stick can be more than a traditional extinguisher. It is worth remembering though that this lasts for at least 15 years minimum, whereas traditional extinguishers generally only last for 5 years, so you'll be buying 3 of those for 1 of these. Oh, and because this does more types of fires, you only need 1 type of extinguisher, whereas typically you'll need multiple types for the different fires. In fact, because this does cooking oils and fats, this means it can also potentially replace your fire blanket, which only also lasts for about 5 years as well. And also, isn't it much safer to be able to use this at a safe distance than having to reach over that fire and gently place that fire blanket over the fire? I know which one I'd rather do. Oh, and remember, because this doesn't cause any more damage, then the residual costs are a lot less clearing up the operation, God forbid if you had a fire. And that's why the insurance companies, when they know about this product, they love it because their claims are a lot less. It's true, the fire safety does run at a much lower pressure than traditional extinguishers. But actually that's one of its advantages. That's why it's safe to use on those cooking oils and fats in the kitchen, for example. Plus also, a lot of traditional extinguishers should not be used in a confined space because of their pressure, and also because of the health issues as well. Now the fire safety stick, you take advantage of its long discharge time. You activate it from a distance well back from the fire. You activate it, keeping it to arm's length, remember. Now, during that time, you're assessing the situation, and as you're pointing it at the fire from a distance, it's already suppressing the fire away from you. Then you simply walk towards the fire, all the time it's suppressing the fire, and then you just simply walk the fire out. So you can see it's a lot safer anyway. And remember, this, like any extinguisher, is always dealing about fires that are small, just started and under control. Anything larger than that, and that's no longer a job for any fire extinguisher. Now that's an interesting one. You see, currently British standards are written around traditional pressurised extinguishers, basically compressed cylinders, and also about their annual servicing as well. Well, the fire safety stick does not need any annual servicing at all, and B, is not in a pressurised container. So in which case I need to rewrite their approvals. Now of course that's not going to happen overnight, but it does have many other certifications and approvals. For a start, it's CE and UKCA marked. It's been independently tested in European test houses and certified for classes A, B, C, F and electrical fires. Oh, and the same product does actually have a verification certification from British standards. This is actually for the Fire Striker, which is the same product but in Australia. It's probably also worth remembering that actually having British standards is not a legal requirement in this country, even in commercial situations, for example. In fact, when you visit hotels or in businesses and what have you, and you see those chrome extinguishers, they will not meet British standards EN3. You see, a British standard means that the extinguisher has to be at least 95% red. They're certainly not.
Now you've heard about the benefits of the fire safety stick, you're going to be bound to be asked, can the fire safety stick replace the traditional extinguisher in a commercial building? Now this isn't black and white. The traditional extinguishers are written into people's fire strategies and business risk assessments. So you would need to get advice on it. These versions that you've got here are not the pro version. So if you need more information, please contact us and we will be able to help you.
So the science behind the fire safety stick was originally developed in the 1960s during the space race. You see, they wanted to have a fixed fire suppression system that could deal with any fires, cause no damage to the instrumentation, and be safe for the astronauts. Anyway, over the years, it's been developed further and further. And then about 20 years ago, a pair of Italians worked on this and developed it more and more into the product that we see today. And in fact, now it's in 35 countries across the world. Of course, it may have different brand names. So for instance, here in the UK and Ireland, we've branded it the Fire Safety Stick. In North America, it's called Element. In Australia, New Zealand and South Africa, it's called Fire Striker. And often around Europe, it's called Fire Suppression Systems. So now you know a little bit more about the fire safety stick, you're probably interested in where to buy one. Well, that couldn't be easier. Simply go on our website, and on the menu at the top there, you'll see where to buy. Click on that page. You'll see there's a map of the UK and Ireland. Below that, we have all our distributors, but also you can filter against postcode, whether they sell online or not, or even what sector they specialise in. Now, it's worth checking some of the different distributors out, because some may do special offers on double or twin packs. After all, it's not just about having one for your car, your boat, your motorhome, caravan. It's also about protecting your most valuable assets, you, your family and your home. Anyway, I hope this has helped you. Any questions at all, just get in touch with us. Many thanks.